Let me hit you with something most men never learn. The less you try to impress a woman, the faster she becomes intrigued by you. Not because she wants to chase someone who's unavailable, but because intentional nonchalance signals something rare in men today. Power. A man who doesn't need her attention to feel valuable radiates a calm strength that pulls her in like gravity. And it's not about being cold or arrogant. It's about being rooted in your own value. So her presence becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. Let's break down 6 key principles behind this powerful mindset. When you stop seeking approval, something powerful shifts in how women respond to you. Most men operate from a mindset of needing to impress, to win favor, to constantly prove their worth. This behavior, even when subtle, gives off a scent of insecurity. Women can feel when a man is trying too hard. It's in his eyes, his posture, his eagerness to please. And while politeness and effort have their place, desperation does not attract. It repels. What truly captivates a woman is a man who walks into the room already approving of himself. A man who doesn't need external validation to feel complete. This kind of man isn't arrogant. He simply knows who he is. He doesn't need every woman to like him because he understands his value doesn't increase or decrease based on anyone else's opinion. That quiet self-assurance is incredibly attractive. It says, I don't need to be liked. I'm already aligned with myself. And that makes her curious. Who is this man who doesn't seek permission to exist? Who doesn't fish for compliments or overextend himself for attention? The key is authenticity. When you're not chasing approval, you're free to be real. Your words carry more weight because they come from a place of certainty. Your energy becomes lighter because you're not carrying the burden of trying to be something you're not. And because you're not trying to earn her interest, your interest, when you choose to show it, feels rare and valuable. Women are drawn to men who don't bend for validation because it signals strength, confidence, and abundance. You're not proving anything. You're simply living, growing, and letting others experience you as you are. That's what creates pull. That's what flips the script, from you chasing her to her noticing you. Emotional self-control is one of the most underrated but powerful traits a man can develop, especially when it comes to attraction. When you stay calm and grounded no matter how chaotic or emotional a situation becomes, it sends a clear message. You are in control of yourself. That is rare. Most men react quickly, get flustered, overthink, or start chasing validation. The moment things become uncertain with a woman. But when you can remain emotionally centered, it immediately separates you from the crowd. Women test emotional stability constantly, sometimes without even knowing they're doing it. They might pull away suddenly, go quiet, act distant, or stir up a bit of drama. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's subconscious. They want to feel safe with a man who doesn't get thrown off balance easily. A man who can handle tension with calm, who can stay present without overreacting, is a man who earns deep respect and attraction. He doesn't try to control the moment or fix everything. He simply remains steady. Being emotionally centered doesn't mean you're cold or emotionless. It means you respond, not react. You observe before you speak. You keep your energy rooted. And you make decisions from a place of clarity, not desperation. This energy feels powerful. It makes her feel like she's in the presence of a man who has himself figured out. A man who cannot be shaken by silence, mood swings, or the fear of loss. That calm presence is addictive. It creates a contrast that's hard to ignore. While others get easily triggered, you remain unfazed. While others chase, you stand still, with purpose. And in that stillness, you project a quiet dominance that says, I'm not here to prove anything, I already know who I am. That's where true attraction begins. When you give a woman space to wonder, you tap into one of the most powerful psychological triggers in attraction, curiosity. Most men make the mistake of being too available, too eager, and too predictable. They flood her with attention, constantly message her, and try to stay on her radar at all times. But this overexposure actually works against them. It removes the mystery, It makes them easy to figure out. And once there's nothing left to discover, the interest begins to fade. Women are drawn to men who leave some questions unanswered. When you're not constantly in her face, when you don't immediately reply to every message, when you occasionally go silent without explanation, not in a manipulative way, but because you're genuinely living your life, she starts to think about you. She wonders where you are, what you're doing, and who you're with. That wondering becomes fascination. And fascination is fuel for attraction. By giving space, you're letting her imagination work for you. You're not chasing her with words. You're letting the silence speak. You're not trying to force connection. You're letting it build in her mind. This doesn't mean ignoring her or playing games. It means you're not trying to constantly manage how she sees you. You trust that your presence is strong enough that it doesn't need to be reinforced every 5 minutes. This space is where attraction grows. It's in the moments when she's unsure about where she stands with you that she starts investing mentally and emotionally. It's in the unpredictability that she starts to feel something deeper. And once that feeling takes hold, it's no longer you chasing her, it's her chasing the experience of being around you. That's the quiet power of creating distance with purpose. Being unapologetically focused on your goals is one of the most magnetic traits a man can possess. It signals direction, discipline, and ambition, qualities that speak volumes without a word being said. Women naturally gravitate toward men who have a clear path and purpose in life, not because of what they can get from them, but because that level of drive is rare and admirable. A man who prioritizes his mission over fleeting attention shows that he is grounded in something bigger than validation or approval. When a man is deeply immersed in his craft, his business, or his personal development, he's operating from a position of power. He doesn't make a woman the center of his life. Instead, he invites her into a life that's already full. That distinction is crucial. Too many men pause their ambition the moment a woman shows interest. They shift their time, energy, and identity toward maintaining the connection, often at the expense of their own progress. Ironically, that shift kills the attraction they were trying to protect. When you remain committed to your path, it creates an aura of self-respect. It shows that you value your time and your journey. You're not easily distracted. You have vision. That kind of masculine energy pulls her in because it's both inspiring and grounding. It gives her the feeling of being part of something real, not just another aimless interaction. It also creates natural tension. When you're not always available, not always texting, and not always adjusting your schedule, she feels a healthy sense of challenge. And challenge fuels desire. She knows she has to earn your time because your time is tied to something meaningful. That makes you more than just another option. You become a man with a mission. And that, above all, is unforgettable. Silence is one of the most underused but powerful tools in a man's attraction arsenal. In a world where people rush to fill every gap in conversation, to constantly prove value or interest, a man who is comfortable with silence stands out. He radiates calm, confidence, and control. There is something deeply compelling about someone who doesn't feel the need to overshare, over-explain, or overcompensate. Silence suggests depth. It makes people wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what's going on beneath the surface. When you're silent, you're not giving away your entire hand. You're not trying to impress with endless words or validation. You let your energy, your presence, and your body language do the talking. That's powerful. A woman who's used to being pursued with flattery and constant attention is naturally intrigued when a man doesn't follow that script. She starts leaning in physically and emotionally to figure you out. She becomes more curious about you because you're not giving her everything up front. This silence also reflects emotional control. You're not reacting impulsively. You're observing. You're choosing your moments to speak with intention. And when you do speak, your words carry weight. They're not filler, they're deliberate. That kind of restraint and precision in communication makes you seem more masculine, more composed, and more secure in who you are. On a deeper level, Silence can create intimacy. When used at the right time, it draws her into your world without pressure. It allows space for real connection to emerge without trying to force it. It shows that you're not afraid of quiet moments, that you're not trying to perform. In the end, the man who masters silence doesn't just capture attention, he commands it, and that is a rare and unforgettable quality. Emotional detachment doesn't mean being cold, unfeeling, or robotic. It means staying grounded in your reality, not being swept up in emotional highs or lows, especially when dealing with attraction or relationships. A man who is emotionally detached in the right way is a man who isn't controlled by his desire to be liked, chosen, or validated. He's centered. He understands that his worth doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's opinion or behavior. That kind of self-possession is incredibly attractive because it creates emotional safety and mystery at the same time. When a woman sees that you're not emotionally reactive, that you're not chasing her approval or spiraling when she pulls back, she feels something different. She feels the presence of a man who can't be easily manipulated, someone who won't lose himself in her attention or affection. That's the kind of man who stands out in a world full of neediness and overinvestment. She might test your patience, withdraw affection, or create emotional tension to see how you react. But if you hold your ground with calm detachment, you show strength, and that strength makes her respect and desire you more. This mindset also allows you to stay logical. You're able to observe what's happening without being blinded by feelings. If she's playing games, you notice. If the connection is genuine, you feel it, but you're still in control. You're not afraid to walk away if something doesn't serve you. That quiet, calm ability to detach is not about being cruel. It's about having standards. And those standards show that you value yourself too much to be anyone's emotional puppet. Ultimately, emotional detachment is freedom. It frees you from chasing, overthinking, and overextending. It keeps your power where it belongs, with you. And that's what makes it so effective. Intentional nonchalance isn't about acting like you don't care. It's about knowing that you don't have to chase, because real value never does. And once you lock into that mindset, women feel it deeply, immediately, and powerfully.